Hey, you guys, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in today's video, I bring you some beautiful Glam Christmas DIYs for Christmas decorating 2025. We're going to decorate a Christmas tree, we're going to do a beautiful swag, and of course a centerpiece. This is a beautiful Glam collection done in gold and in beautiful pastels that I know you're going to love. This is a compilation from past projects that I wanted to bring back to you so that you can be inspired to decorate in Christmas 2025. Are you guys ready? Let's get started. Now, I will be talking to you about some of the items that we got, and I'm gonna start with these large ornaments. These came from Walmart, believe it or not. They were about $5, guys. Look how big this is. So what I like to do is I like to grab a wire, and I put a wire, and that kind of gives me a stem to put this ball in. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna start from here down with the larger ornaments, and from here up, we're going to do smaller ornaments and clusters. So what I want to do is I'm going to push that branch down, and I'm gonna stick this ball as far as I can. Then I'm gonna grab one of my bristles, and I'm gonna twist my wire twice onto a bristle so that way it stays in place. Remember to always lift up the branch, and then also remember to work in a zigzag motion going down. I have 4, so I have to make sure that I go from here all the way down. So I'm gonna do one here. I'm gonna step ladder down to like about here. I'm gonna grab a bristle, I'm gonna grab a branch and twist that wire. Look, it's gonna stay right in place. Now, I did went ahead and pre-wire all of my ornaments. Well, most of them, I'm not gonna lie to you. There'll probably be some of them that are not wired. Why? Because that's gonna help me to save time. And so what you want to do is like lift this branch up here. We want to kind of cover some of these bigger spaces into our Christmas tree. So grab that branch and twist that wire 1, 2, 3. Okay, I have one last one, which is going to be this beautiful glitter one. So see how I'm going one to the right, one to the left, one to the right. This one's gonna go all the way down over here. You might not be able to see this right now. I don't know, Jameson, can they see it?
Yep, you can see it.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna add this one right here. I'm gonna attach to my branch, and that's gonna support the ornament. Now, the one that I'm excited about, it's this disco ball. How fun, you guys. Disco balls is one of the hottest trends for Christmas. When I went to market, we saw it all the way from the ceiling, on tabletops, on arrangements, on the floor, on coffee tables, on Christmas trees, on ornaments, on garlands, on picks. It was everywhere. So that's why this year I decided to get some in gold and some in silver, so that way I can add to my Christmas tree. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start right here. Now on these ones, I didn't add a wire because they come with this heavy duty hook. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put my branch down, then I'm going to look for one of these bristles that connect to my Christmas tree. I'm gonna grab it and pull it through, and then I'm going to fold this right here, and that's gonna help me support my disco ball. They are pretty large. They're about 10-inch round. I just love it, don't you? So now we're gonna go from our left to our right. Remember to scale down or step ladder motion down, and that's what's going to help you have a lot of balance on your Christmas tree. So one, I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna go all the way over here, working my way back to my Christmas tree. Sorry if I gave you the back, but this is real life decorating, you guys. This is not, I was not even going to actually record this video. I was just gonna go ahead and decorate my Christmas tree, but I told James, I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and do it. Why not? All right, so one, and then I'm going to put this guy all the way over here on this side. So I already started with the one on the top, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down over to this side, and I'm gonna start staggering them down. So I'm gonna open right here. I'm gonna grab a branch, and remember to go all the way in. We're trying to really pack this Christmas tree with ornaments, especially these disco balls, because, well, they're so pretty. I absolutely love them. So we're gonna go one. I'm going to go one right here in the middle, and I'm gonna go all the way down. I have 2 more. I only have 5 of them. So I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna put this one on the, well, I'm gonna put it over here. You might not be able to see this one right here, but you will, trust me. Because when you're walking by your Christmas tree, you want to make sure that the same elements are all throughout the Christmas tree when you're walking by it. So that one you don't see right now, but there's already plenty over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy maybe right here on the center. So I'm going to open up my branches and I'm going to stick this ornament all the way through and in, then going to attach. Now you guys, these ornaments, I should mention that those ornaments, those disco ball ornaments were actually from Five Below. So they're only about $5, $5.99 I think they were each. And I just thought they were super cute. I got 5 because that's all they had on the champagne color. But these ones right here are from Walmart. These guys were only about $2.50. And I got all of the ones that we got. Actually, me and Jameson had to go back and look for more ornaments because I felt like I didn't have enough. But here's a secret. Buy all of the ones they have. And then if you use them, good. But if you don't use them, you can always take them back. So that's what I do. I'm not lying. Check this out. I bought all the ones I had. Just don't take the tags off. I know I'm gonna use them because it's a big tree, but if you buy like, let's say 30 and you don't use them, just keep the tags, work on them as you go, and then return the ones that you don't wanna use. So I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna start packing this tree with gold ornaments, basically. I'm gonna start filling in all of these gaps, and I already pre-wired all of these ornaments. Like I said, working with this wire really allows you to move faster. As you guys can see, it's already looking absolutely beautiful. I love it. I'm gonna put one right here. Remember to step ladder motion as you go down. So now I'm gonna go over here. And a lot of people ask me where this Christmas tree is from. Unfortunately, this Christmas tree is no longer available. It was from a local boutique. You know what, I'm gonna put one right here. Here in San Diego. And unfortunately, sometimes, you know, they discontinue things, and that's what happened with this tree. Now I'm going to leave the top a little bare because I'm gonna need my step ladder, but I'll finish from here up off camera and you guys will see the end result. But see how it's filling in all throughout my Christmas tree, and every gap I have, I want to fill in with an ornament. All right, so far we are finishing the top. As you guys can see, I added our next element, which is going to be this beautiful ornament. And I did a live a few days ago. If you guys remember, if you were watching live, I told you to check your grocery stores because sometimes your grocery stores carry Christmas decorations that you might not find at Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Michael's. Like these particular ornaments right here, you guys. They came in a set of 6 in a box. They're so pretty and they were super affordable because they're grocery store ornaments. Who'd have thunk it, right? So I like this size, and so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start filling in my gaps like right here. I'm gonna grab them like I told you. I already pre-wired everything. And I'm gonna work on this motion going down so that way I have this element all throughout my Christmas tree and it's all cohesive. Actually, I'm gonna add this guy right here. Just putting that wire real quick and filling some gaps. But like I said, look, I put one right here, then immediately I'm going to move over to this side to add another one like this. And then we're gonna move over to probably right here in the middle. You see this gap right here? Well, we're going to put an ornament and that's going to fill in right there. And I have to find a bristle to attach. And you see how it's like already filling and giving you that 3-dimensional feel. It is so beautiful. So now I'm gonna move over to this side and I'm going to add one right here. But I did some clusters. Me and Jameson actually spent the evening wiring all of these ornaments and doing clusters. You want to come and say hi? Come here, Jameson. Give it up for Jameson. He didn't wear his black shirt today.
Exactly. It was supposed to match, but
he was supposed to match. So, how do you think this is looking?
I love the golden champagne. You have me at champagne.
Champagne, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, don't leave. Come here. I know he's embarrassed. But what out of all the Christmas trees that we've done this year, which one's your favorite? Great.
There's too many. There's too many so far. We have a lot more coming too, so I don't want to divulge too much information.
Stay tuned. Thank you, Jameson. Give it up for Jameson. So what we're going to do with these clusters, you guys, we're going to fill in all of these gaps. And look, this is going to really help us just tie in all of that. And what this has is like, this is the pattern that we did. Shiny, shiny, disco ball, glitter, shiny. And then I'll show you another one. There's another kind that we did There was one that it was glitter, glitter, disco ball, glitter, shiny. So you can just play with those ornaments and really fill in the gaps, like right here. Look how pretty this is going to be. Right here. Oh, it looks so magical. It looks like Christmas, right? Right, so now I'm going to one right here. Our next step, you guys, is going to be to add our ribbon. And for this particular ribbon, what I chose is this gorgeous gold ribbon from the At Home store. So what you want to do is just drop that ribbon on the floor and also have some wires ready, okay? So I'm going to start by dovetailing this guy like this. And then I'm going to do I want to do single loop bows or do I want to do bows? I think we're going to start with single loop bows. You know, it's kind of my signature, but we're going to do some long tails like that. You're going to grab a wire and then you're going to wire this single loop bow like this. Look how cute that is. Make sure that you dovetail the end, because if I come to your home and your ribbons are not dovetail, well, I'm gonna ask you for a pair of scissors and I'm gonna start doing it myself. So now we're gonna have these longer tails like that. And what you want to do is grab this right here. Like I'm gonna add one right here. Thought it was a perfect spot to show you. Wire that together and look at that. Let those hang like this. How cute. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. So we're gonna start by dovetailing, chunk. Then we're gonna grab a wire, put your wire right here. And then we're going to pinch, pinch, gather, go down, pinch, pinch, gather, twist. This is not a printed ribbon, so there's really no need for the twist, but it really does help if you twist, because it just keeps you that in your mind. You know, you have to twist, especially if it's a printed ribbon. So I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go all the way in, grab that, twist it, grab my scissors, and dovetail, like that. One more time, just fold, twist, grab your wire. Remember to give it about, I want to separate a 12 inch tail twist. Grab your wire, wire all of this together. After you wire, what does good is like to fluff it a little bit. And one thing that I like to do is like add my ribbon to my tree first, like right here. Before we continue with this video, I want to take a second to invite you to come and join me on Facebook on my private group called Ramon at Home Masterclass. You guys, we are doing over 10 DIYs a month, and we also are doing live content, which I'm enjoying having those conversations with you live. Remember that the instructions on how to join this private group are going to be pinned to the top on a post on my Facebook page. Follow the instructions and you too can come and join the fun. Back to the video. All right, so now our last step is going to be to add these beautiful poinsettias that you guys, check this out. These are from Walmart, and I wish I remember the price, but they're about $3. And look, they're all sequined, absolutely gorgeous, and I just love them. They have a little clip, but what you need to do really is just find a spot like right here, open it and make sure that it goes in through the bristles. It'll stay right there, look, because it has that clip on it. It'll make sure that it's secure. And remember to work one that way, one this way, like so. And remember that also, here's a secret. Don't put them all looking forward because it's going to look polka dotted. What you need to do is when you insert your flowers, put them sideways so that way it catches the light more beautifully, like this. See how it's like facing more like that than facing forward? You might want to have a few facing forward, but not all of them. So I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna go over to this side, maybe right about here, because I only have about 8. So I want to make sure that those 8 really go all throughout the Christmas tree, like this. I have 2 more. Remember to work all the way down, like right here. And they're just going to be filling out the gaps. And I also love these poinsettias. They're super cute. Has all of these sequins and glitters, so pretty. The last thing I want to add to this beautiful Christmas tree is some crystals. A few years ago, I did a home tour for Christmas, and it was all crystals. There were crystals on the Christmas tree, crystals on the garland. There was crystals all over. If you have not seen that home tour, I'm going to link it down below so you guys can go check it out. It was a frozen Christmas. Well, this time, what I want to do is add these crystals to this Christmas tree in a manner where they just dangle and they are just sparkling and catching that light. Look how pretty. And not a lot of it either, you guys. Look, I'm gonna start right here, very effortlessly, just like crystals drip onto the Christmas tree. I'm gonna grab this one right here, and then I'm going to go from here. Remember to just swoop it down and then go down and let that string of crystals do its magic. Like I'm going to go right here. Make sure that you put some draping down, you do a swoop, and then you let this guy down like that. Let's see, where do we need more? Right here. I'm gonna add one right here. I'm gonna swoop all the way down. I'm gonna grab this branch and let it swoop down. That's going to really create, look how pretty this is, you guys. I've had this for so many years and I've only used them once. Has that ever happened to you? Where you have all this Christmas decor, and because it's Christmas only once a year, you can only pull them out once a year, and I don't like that because I love all this stuff, but oh well, like my ex-boss used to say, oh well. All right, so I'm gonna go over here. So I'm gonna put this guy right here. Then I'm gonna go through this ornament cluster, and then I'm going to go right here. All right, you guys, so this is the end result on this beautiful Christmas tree that I am just obsessed with. The whole monochromatic with golds and champagnes really makes it stand out. It creates a beautiful festive look, and I just love the way the little ornament clusters turned out, the poinsettias with all the sequins and the addition of the beautiful crystals. It creates a sparkly and festive look. Well, as you guys can see, decorating this beautiful Christmas tree was super easy, and the end result is just absolutely gorgeous. But now I'm going to share with you how to create a gorgeous swag for your front door that I know you're going to love. Keep watching. All right, everyone, for our first swag for your front door this year, we're going to grab one of these greenery swags and we're going to fluff. You know, that's always step number one when you're making your wreaths, your swags, your centerpieces, your Christmas tree, because look how they come. They come pretty flat on the box for packaging and shipping, but if you just take a few minutes, it's gonna literally take just a few minutes or seconds actually, and just pull every single bristle, because we're gonna need them to tie in into glue. So we need to really make sure they're super fluffy and very, very well manageable. That's the word I'm looking for. So there you go, there's a difference. So I'm gonna put my swag back onto my stand, and that way we can work on it. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our ornaments, and for that I got these gigantic ornaments, and I'm going to make sure that I take the plastic off of this one. This is how they come from our retailers, and so I'm gonna take this plastic off. This is the glitter kind. It is so pretty, you guys. This ornament was only about $4, and I cannot believe how pretty this is. Also, be sure to move that pesky tag off of it. By the way, how are you guys enjoying this year's Christmas season? Isn't this so much fun? I'm gonna grab a wire, and then I'm going to put my wire through. I'm going to fold, twist, and that's gonna give me a stem. So I'm gonna start with one of these large ornaments right here, and I wanna make sure that I wire really, really close to the core of that swag so it doesn't go anywhere. So then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab a second one. I'm gonna grab a wire, and this is going to really make a statement on your front door this year, because these ornaments are super large and in charge, and they're really going to be noticeable from a distance. So I'm gonna grab this one and I'm gonna put it right about here. So I'm gonna lift up this other one a little bit and I'm gonna make sure that I go as close to the core as possible. So that way they look like they overlap together like this. Then I have a third one that I already took the plastic off from, and I'm going to grab a wire. Now what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm going to stagger them down. You know, I'm always telling you, you have to create that step ladder motion going down, so that way it looks very cohesive. So I'm gonna go all the way down here. This is why we have to fluff our swags, because that way you can really use those bristles. So we have one in the middle, one on the left, and then one on the very bottom. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to my ribbon. And I just want to mention these cute little trays from the dollar store, you guys. They really come in handy for gathering your materials together. So for this swag, I'm going to go with a golden champagne theme. So I'm gonna get this champagne ribbon as well as this gold ribbon that is at 1.5 inches and a 2-inch, because I really want those ornaments to show. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop it on the floor. I'm gonna grab my ribbon, I'm gonna give it a tail, and then I'm gonna do a 2-loop bow. Remember to just go down, twist, pinch, and gather like this. I'm gonna twist and pinch one more time, like so. And then we're going to introduce this other ribbon. And so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do a little tail, and then I'm going to do a bow, and I'm gonna stagger them like so. I'm gonna drop it on the floor. Sometimes it's just easier to drop it on the floor and work on them from the floor. Then I'm gonna grab a wire. I'm gonna go through here, and I'm going to wire all of this together like this. I love this ribbon because it's loopy and floppy, and it's going to be very, very pretty. So I'm gonna put it right on this side. I'm gonna go all the way down like this. Look how pretty that is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab both of my ribbons and I'm going to do a big swoop, and I'm gonna go across the ornament. I'm gonna grab this right here, and I'm gonna swoop together, and then I'm gonna do the exact same thing going the opposite side. So like this. Just twist them together. If it is too loopy, you feel like it needs to be tighter, just pull a little bit on it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more going down, all the way down, like this. Then I'm going to cut my tails right here. We'll dovetail those at the end. Remember, I'm always telling you to dovetail your ribbons, because if I come to your house and if it's not dovetail, most likely I will ask you for a pair of scissors. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab about a 4-inch tail. I'm going to do a smaller bow to put on the side to fill in that gap right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bow like this. So it's a 2-loop bow. I'm going to grab me a wire. I always like to wire all this together before I put it. I've seen wreath makers where they put the bow first and attach it to like the bristles, but I think it's more secure if you just grab a wire. So look at that. I'm gonna grab this wire and or this bow, and I'm gonna put on this wire right here. So now I'm gonna have a bow, and then for this, I'm just gonna give it dovetails like that. And I'm gonna do the same with this other ribbon that is 1.5 inches. Dovetail real quick, and then do a cute little bow, maybe about a 6-inch bow. And when I mean 6 inch, you guys, I want to repeat, it's like 6 inches like this, so it would be like 12 inches. And then you fold it in half, so that'll make it a 6-inch bow. I just thought I'd figure, I would mention that to you. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm gonna attach this bow right here, along with that. Look at that. And then also I'm gonna give this a little tail. All right, so now that we're done with our ribbon technique, which basically is a bow right here, a bow right here, and a bow right here. And look how we stagger them out to make it look more intentional. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add some smaller ornaments just to fill in some of these gaps before we move on to some other pretty elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab one, put it up here on the very top. So I'm gonna do one right there. And the easiest way to do it is to wire it, you guys. I'm always telling you, You can always repurpose these ornaments. If you're doing it for your home, you can always repurpose them later on for future years. And if you're doing it to sell, then you can always allow your customers to know that it's going to be very safe on the door and it is not going to go anywhere. If you glue it together, sometimes with the sun or the elements, they might come flying off, you know, in the middle of the summer or in the middle of the winter, depending on the wreath you're making. But if you are wire them together, then there is no way that this is going to come off if you really take the time to properly wire. All right, so I'm gonna grab a shiny one, and as you guys can see, I did one right here, two right here. I'm going to do one on the bottom. And these are just like the little jewels for the door, you guys. I'm gonna grab this guy right here, and I'm going to make sure that it looks all the way down. Sorry if I disappear for a second. And then I'm going to move on to this side, and I'm gonna put one right here. I feel like that will be our last one, because there's other pretty elements that I'm going to add that are really gonna take center stage. This is just basically a filler, if you will. All right, so I'm gonna grab this bristle and go all the way in like this. So now it's looking pretty full, right? This is my favorite part, you guys, the picks, stems, and florals. If you know me, you know that I have a 4-step process, whether I'm decorating a Christmas tree, a wreath, or a swag, which is ribbons first, ornaments second, stems, picks, and florals third, and then accent ribbons at the end. So kind of break the rules a little bit when you are doing swags and wreaths, because sometimes adding the bigger ornaments really just make more sense, right? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these flocked pieces to add some texture to my swag, and I'm gonna start with some of the really flocked ones. And for that, I have my hot glue gun over here that I put on my stand. So I'm gonna add enough glue on my swag to add to my, look at that, to my stem. So I'm going to add, as you guys can see, just be very generous with it. And then start right here, work your way out. And when you insert your stem, you guys, I really do recommend to insert sideways, so that way it gives it that beautiful designer look. Instead of putting it flat like this, twist it a little bit. So I'm gonna add one. Remember, what happens on the right happens on the left. So I'm gonna add one right here. And if you just continue to do this motion, you're going to have a really pretty swag. Now I have to tell you this right here were from a wreath from David Christopher's. And I just love the color because it goes so well. It's a greenery, but it goes so well with the gold and the champagne. So I took that wreath apart and I used the picks, because you know what? That wreath is already mine. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I use as much as I can from those elements to, well, get my money's worth, right? So I'm going to add one more right here. I'm gonna go over to this side like this. Now think of a core. This is going to be our core. So from here going up, from here going down. So that way it's really well balanced. I don't like that one. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I like these ones better. I'm going to go ahead and add the one on the bottom first to make sure that I don't disappear too much. So I'm going to add one right there. Let that dry. I'm going to add a few more. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this Christmas 2024 series. I'm having so much fun sharing with you all of these beautiful DIYs in hopes to inspire you to create some beautiful decorations for your home. And remember, all of these swags are going to be inspired by other Christmas trees that we've done in the past. So that way you have a Christmas tree and then a swag for your front door. And I'm thinking about doing the centerpieces, you guys, all of the centerpieces. So that way I can help you have a more cohesive look in your home this year. All right, so I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna add it right here. So that's starting to fill in, right? But I feel like here on the top, I need a really flocked one. So I'm gonna add this one. And remember to always go, what goes up must come down. What goes to the right, what happens on the right happens on the left. All right, so I feel like right behind this ornament, we need one. There you go. So now we're talking. That is turning out so pretty. So we're gonna move on to our next pick, and that's going to be some of these heavily flocked in silver beautiful picks from Walmart, believe it or not. And what I like about this, look how beautiful this is, you guys. It really it really opens up. So I wanna make sure, I wanna see if I can pull it. Because like I'm always telling you, I already paid for it, so I wanna take as much advantage as I can from this pick. So this one I had cut in half. So I wanna see if I can pull them out. Can I use them? Oh yes, you can, look at that. Just have to put some muscle into it. But look at that, you guys. That gives us 3, let's see, this one, is it a 1, 4, and 5 out of 1 pick. Great, so I'm gonna start with that. Look how stunning this is. So we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're going to add some glue right here. And then I'm gonna start right about here. And that's going to add that beautiful sparkle. Now these wires are a little long, so I'm gonna have to grab my wire cutters. Actually, you know what? Instead of cutting it, what you could do is bend it in half, and then that way there's more space for glue. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut it in half. Let me know in the comment section below if you want to see the matching centerpieces for all of these swags, you guys. That way you have the Christmas tree, the swag for the front door, and then the centerpiece. I think that'd be a good idea. Or if you want to see the matching lanterns, perhaps. Let's see, I'm gonna put one right here. Look how stunning this is. And this was under $5. I cannot believe it. Okay, I'm gonna add the one on the bottom. You know, remember, I always say what happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up must come down. So every time that I put the one on the top, I like to go back down and make sure that I have that element going all the way down. All right, so we're going to add now, fold this in half. Let me see, I feel like it needs one coming out of here. So we're gonna add that one, fold my pick in half, add the glue, and then we're going to go right here. Wow, that is so pretty, isn't it? All right, so I think that's all I'm going to add for that particular stem, because I really just wanted to catch the light. But here is a piece of resistance for this beautiful swag, and that's going to be these beautiful magnolia flowers. I have 3 of them because I already have all of these big ornaments. I wanted to add another element to really make it oomph in the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend a little bit of the stem. I'm going to add some glue to it. And then I'm going to decide where do I want them. I want one right here. Probably the biggest one's going to go right there to the side. I'm going to add maybe one right here. Another one, and look how I put this one up, like going up instead of inserting like this, because that will give me more play on my ornament. Look at that. And then I'm going to add the last one on the very top. All right, so I'm gonna add this guy right about here. And look at this. Isn't that absolutely stunning? I'm gonna put that on the door and show you the end result. Keep watching. And here is the end result on this beautiful swag for your front door. Look how absolutely gorgeous the magnolia look on this beautiful swag. The ornaments are oversized. The bows make so much difference going across the swag, and you guys, all the glitter, it's super glam with the ornaments and the pics. I had so much fun sharing this one with you, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. I always tell you that you only get one chance to create a first impression, and that is at the front door. If you give this swag a try, I know you're going to love it, and you're really going to impress your family and your friends this holiday season. But now I'm going to share with you how to create a gorgeous centerpiece DIY to match this beautiful glam theme. But now, before I ask you to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends so they too can come and join the fun here at Ramon at Home this Christmas 2025. Let's take a look. All right, everyone, so what we're going to need for this beautiful glam centerpiece is going to be a battery operated candle. You can find this on Amazon or even some craft stores like Michael's. I know they carry them, as well as Shinoda Design Center. I'm going to use this hurricane that I found at Michael's a few years ago, and I was just at Michael's the other day looking for ornaments and I saw a few, so I know they still carry those hurricanes. You can find one if you're looking for. I'm gonna use this dollar store base. You know that I'm always telling you to save on your mechanics because, well, you're not gonna see most of it. I also went ahead and put a garland in here and I added some picks. I'm going to add some ribbon to this right away, and then also some other greeneries that I've had just on my stash. All right, the very first thing I'm going to do is actually, you know what, I'm going to get out my trusty pick machine, and I save this guy over here to have it at the reach, and this is how I save it so it doesn't get any dust in those mechanic parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this plastic cover off, and then I like to angle like this because these were cut, so it needs something sharp to insert. And so what this does is puts a steel pick. It's very sharp. One time, you guys, I was doing a full wreath here on YouTube and it went through my finger, and I still have the scar right here. So be very careful if you do have one of these. All right, so see how easy it is to insert when you put that steel pick. All right, so now I want to talk to you about our home tour, you guys. It's coming soon. I'm super excited because the theme is opulent gold, and basically everything is gold. You'll get to see the Christmas tree DIY coming up this week, sometime this week, so be sure to stay tuned. And then also remember that when we creating a centerpiece or a wreath, what happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up must come down. Why? Because that's what's going to keep the balance. So before I insert this one right here, I'm gonna put my hurricane in the middle to kind of give me a guidepost of where do I not want to pass. So I'm gonna go right here, then immediately remember what happens on the right happens on the left. So I'm gonna go ahead and put another one over on this side, just to make sure that I don't pass those boundaries where that hurricane is going to be sitting. So now that I know where that's going to be, I'm gonna put it to the side. I'm gonna finish by inserting a few more of these picks. This is just basically my filler because I put a PVC garland. What I wanted to do is add some texture to this centerpiece, and I'm going to do that with some of these picks. And these picks are from Walmart, believe it or not. I have one right here. I'll share with you what it looks like. This is what it looks like, and all you just do is cut to it. It is super affordable. I think this guy was under $5. So as you guys can see, you get a whole bunch of product with this particular pick. All right, so now that we have this, I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon, but just a little bit. I don't want it to be too ribbony, but I do want it to look a little bit like the other elements that we've done so far for the home tour. And for this particular centerpiece, we're using all the same elements that we put on that swag. So the same ribbon, the same magnolia, the same picks. So what you do is you just attach with your own bristles, do a loop about a 6-inch, listen to me speaking Spanish to you guys, a 6-inch loop, which means 6 in Spanish, for all my Spanish speakers out there. More. All right, so now that I'm here, I'm gonna grab my scissors and I'm gonna cut at an angle, actually a dovetail. So that's what this is going to look like. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna bring our next element, which is going to be these beautiful picks. Now these picks are a little frosty and I love them. This actually was a wreath from David Christopher's and I take it apart. I'm always telling you to, if you have those old wreaths, you know, like go ahead and take them apart and create yourself some picks. Then also when you insert this, be sure to insert them at an angle so that way you get more of the texture. And then remember what happens on the right happens on the left. So I'm going to go in here immediately and then I'm going to go across and insert another one right here. And you know what? I'm going to take a second to move this out of the way. I'm gonna put it over here because I have a feeling that I don't like. So I'm gonna just put it over here. That way we continue inserting some of these stems. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm gonna go all the way down like this. And then immediately I'm going to spin around and I'm going to do the exact same thing over on this side. Look at that. And that's going to give us that length. Look how long this just got. And so now what I need to do is repeat the corners over here. So I'm gonna go over on this side like this. Remember, we have to keep our hurricane in the middle because that's where the candle's gonna go. And then I'm going to go and add one right here. This foam, you guys, also is from the dollar store. Like I'm always saying, I really encourage you to get your mechanics anywhere where mechanics are sold and where the places where you can find them the least expensive, because look, you're not gonna see any of it. So what's the point of spending all that money on things you're not going to see? I'd rather you spend that money on new ornaments and ribbon, and a beautiful ribbon. Look how pretty. Look how big this just got with just a few picks. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this beautiful pick that was also from Walmart. What I like to do for this particular one is I'm going to fold this in half. I want it to be a little bit shorter. Then I'm going to put a steel pick. A lot of you ask me, where can you get this steel pick machine? You can find them on Amazon. Also, Shinoda Design Center sells them. So if you want a pick machine, if you are a professional crafter, I really recommend to invest in one. They're quite of an investment, but they're so worth it because all of your DIYs are going to be professionally made. And so the reason why I fold it is because I want a thicker stem, so this steel pick can attach to. And remember, once again, to always insert at an angle. Instead of putting it flat like this, go ahead and just give it a little bit of a spin, so that way it really catches the light. Look how pretty that is. All right, so now I'm gonna grab yet another one and I'm gonna fold it in half. I'm gonna insert that pick. If you don't have a pick machine, that's fine. You can always insert your stem like that. It's gonna be a little bit harder because these stems are really thin. So you want to make sure that you have that steel pick, see, to insert. Look how pretty that is, you guys. So I'm gonna spin it around and I'm going to do yet another one. Once again, just go ahead and fold this. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this season. I'm having so much fun creating all of these beautiful Christmas DIYs for you, and I just really hope that you are enjoying it as much as I am. I had a ball this year with all of the Christmas trees and all of the centerpieces and DIYs that we've done for the channel, and I still have a whole month to go, so be sure to turn the notification bell on so you're notified and you will not want to miss, like I said, especially all of the DIYs for the home tour, because it really is turning out really, really beautiful. All right, so one more right there, and I have a few more. Let me see, where do I want another one? I think I'm gonna put one right here. And so I'm going to grab my steel pick, and then I'm going to add right here, making sure that I go through all of that greenery, enriching into the foam. There's no better sound to me than that foam being poked with one of these stems. I love it. Okay, this is our last one. I'm going to insert this guy right here. Okay, so our next step is going to be to assemble our beautiful Glam centerpiece. So first I'm going to put my candle down, as you guys can see. Then I'm gonna bring my hurricane, so that way I can readjust. Like this guy right here is on the way, so we're gonna have to take them out and readjust that. That's why you wanna, before you go any further, do this step, so that way you can have this hurricane flat and flush on the centerpiece. All right, so now our next step is going to be to add some of these beautiful ginormous magnolias from David Christopher's, and what I want you to do is really fluff them. So look how big this is. I already went ahead and pre-picked, that way we can save that time. So I'm gonna add one right about here, making sure that I go really deep into my centerpiece. Look how pretty that is, you guys. Then I'm gonna move over to this side and I'm going to insert one right over here. Look how pretty that is. And then I'm gonna bring the last one and I'm going to do this one on the bottom like this. Oh, how absolutely stunning is that? That is so pretty. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my 20 gauge wire. Remember, I share with you how to make this loop with this wire. It's a 20 gauge, and then what you do is you put it through your ornament, you close, and that gives you a pick to insert ornaments. I'll show you how easy it is. So you wanna insert at an angle and then let it flop like that. Look at that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a set of 2. So basically just grab your wire, put it through the hook. And I feel like this one's a little too long, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my wire cutters and cut a little bit of it. And exactly where I put that one, what I want to do, look, you grab it like a pencil or a pen. You want to insert this into the foam right next to that one. Look at that. So remember, it works in sets of 3s, 2s, and 1s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between all of my magnolias, and I'm going to grab one of these hooks, put it through my ornament hanger. Then I'm going to go in between the magnolia, and I'm going to go down all the way down like that. How pretty is that? I absolutely love it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another one, but we did a set of 2, we did 1, so I think I'm going to do a set of 2. And for that, you know what, I'm going to put both of them into the hook. It's almost like creating one of those clusters. I'm going to cut a little bit of it. The shorter it is, the closer it's going to get to your foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open right here and put it. I knew it. Sometimes this happens, but it's okay. All you have to do is pop that ornament back in, and that's because I put too much pressure on it. But look at that. All you have to do is pop it back in. All right, you guys, so here is the finished centerpiece. As you can see, there is a lot of texture on this centerpiece with the beautiful gilded magnolias and all of the ornaments and the berries and this beautiful pick right here. It is absolutely gorgeous. It just catches the light so beautifully. The candle flickering on the inside makes it look very cozy and festive, and I just absolutely love it. And the sweet little bows like this right here just makes for a festive look. It really does look glam. It will look absolutely gorgeous on a coffee table, even on a centerpiece for a table for your tablescape, or an entryway table, or a kitchen island, because it is pretty large and in charge. And I just hope that you'll learn a few tricks on how to create your very own Christmas centerpiece DIY for this year. So what do you guys think? Wasn't this just so much fun? I really hope that you enjoyed this compilation as much as I did, and I cannot wait to bring you even more beautiful Christmas DIYs for Christmas season 2025. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and as always, you can watch more videos right now. Until next time, bye.